Chairman Blair J. Sickland. Vice Chair Wayne M. Richards.
Here.
Secretary Treasurer Jean Ellen Wright.
Here.
Commissioner George E. Mastix is currently out of the room. Commissioner Peyton W. MacArthur.
Here.
Executive Director Manuel Almira.
I'm here.
Port Counsel Greg Picken.
Here.
Mr. Chair, we have a quorum.
Okay, very good. Please rise for the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval for the minutes. So, motion, Commissioner Richards, second, Commissioner Enright, any discussion? All in favor, all opposed, carries 4-0. Additions, deletions, presentations, and announcements.
Mr. Chair, we have an announcement as well as a presentation. The announcement would be to ask for a moment of silence for terrorist attack victims. And if you'd like, just go on to the presentation. This will be for the Marine Industry Association, the Holiday Boat Parade, the Toy Drive donation, Lisa Freeman. Lisa, why don't you come up?
Why don't we do the moment of silence before? And also, Commissioner Richards has something else to do.
I received a phone call from Glenn Diaz, heavy lift, yesterday, informing me that former Port Commissioner Raphael died of a heart attack 2 nights ago. So let's maybe please have a moment of silence for Raphael's family.
Why don't we do them, we'll do it for both. A moment of silence for our victims in the Paris attack and for former Port Commissioner Raphael Ron Jones.
Yeah.
Yes, let's stand for that. Okay, thank you very much. Okay.
All right. So we can go on. Lisa Freeman is the Operations Director of MIA. We'll be here to accept toys.
Oh, actually, you'll pick up the toys tomorrow.
She's here for the money.
Sure. So, let's see. Oh, the money's in.
So what you want?
All right, I will.
Well, on behalf of the port staff commissioners, here is a check for the Marine Industries Association for
Thank you all very much.
Photo. So we get a picture? Sure, all right.
Can I get up?
Yeah, everybody. Come on.
Age before.
I'd rather be next to Beauty, thank you very much.
I'm next to Beauty.
I'm coming on
That's it, all right. That's the spirit. Come on in here.
All right, guys. 1, 2, 3. Thank you so much. It's very hard.
But I heard you. I heard you. You give your welcome speech. No. Well, don't ask me. Wayne was very good.
I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, what else we got? Additions, deletions.
That's it, Commissioner. I'll be going to consent agenda.
Okay, consent agenda.
You got an extra pen there, young lady? I'd like to pull 3 items.
All right.
E11, E14, and E16.
11, 14, 16, and we do have a comment on 14, so let's take 11 first. Okay? Go ahead. What's on 11?
I'd like staff to give us a little overview. I was concerned that the backup's a little light. It doesn't go into the environmental impacts and whether we have no more lighting than we need. You and I discussed it a little earlier before the meeting. So I'd like you to share that with the board and the public.
No problem, Commissioner. This is a project I've been looking at for approximately 10 years since I've been here in relation to the high mast light poles. They use a lot of power in relation to high pressure sodium. I definitely foresee a possibility of reducing our footprint by reducing our energy consumption, as well as being able to limit the amount of light pollution that's being received by Palm Beach, Singer Island, and the residents within Riviera Beach. Utilizing LED lighting, I believe we're going to be able to directional the lighting to where it's more conducive to the work environment. We do need to maintain 5 kilowatt lights in relation to the work areas, and then we can actually reduce lighting as we go farther west in areas that are not being operated, have workers operating in. Does that address your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And the cost, where is this money coming from?
This project is at a no-cost test for 6 months. I mean, it's going to cost us some money to have the electrical hooked up for it. But what we're going to do is put a meter on this light bulb with the LED lighting and put a meter on a high pressure sodium. We'll leave it on there for 30 days. And utilizing that, we'll be able to give it to our accounting department, and we'll be able to calculate what our savings would be, what our investment would be, and how long it would be to recover our investment.
And what, do we have you have an estimate of what this would?
The electrical will probably be about $6,000–7,000 to set it up, but that'll be the complete cost.
How about the lights themselves?
The lights is completely free. I've made this offer to every company that Tom Lundin and I have sat with quite a few. Over the 10 years, I've probably sat down with 50 companies. I've asked them all the same, can you do a test project for us? They say no, free of cost. They say no. This is the first company that volunteered to do it. They actually did it in Port Everglades. I contacted the Director of Security for Port Everglades. They're very happy with what they saw.
Good.
Until we see it in our environment and how it's going to, again, limit the impact to the environment with the sea turtles, how it's going to impact our local residents, and it's yet to be seen.
Okay. Sounds like a winner. Thank you. Good. Sounds like a winner. Thank you. Good.
E14.
14.
I had a question too. Yeah.
Okay.
On E14, I pulled it, it's the annual electrical service contract. I actually pulled it so one of our constituents, Jimmy Kelleher from IBEW, could address it.
Well, why don't we get, before he comes up, Ken, did you want to, and then we'll get,
Commissioners, in order to support our port maintenance department, day-to-day electrical repair and service needs, and emergency needs, management is recommending an intergovernmental purchase with an electrical repair and service in accordance with the pricing and terms extended to the Palm Beach County School Board. What I'm trying to do in essence with this one is just piggyback off the Palm Beach County School Board, who put a RFP out in July 2014, and they selected Musco Electrical to do some work. We've actually had them do a couple of small jobs out here. Our maintenance foreman, Al Fawcett, is pleased with their work. I'm pleased with it. Again, this is for small projects, not big projects. If we were to go out for a big project, we would definitely utilize our procurement process with advertising for bids.
go ahead and come on up and,
Good afternoon. Jimmy Kelleher, William, with the IBEW. The port has adopted our wage package and rates. I don't understand. None of my contractors were asked to bid on this, and I know you were referred to. I think that you should open this up to competitive bid for maintenance. If you're going to pay my wage rates, why not at least give my contractors a shot at it? We've worked with Jim Ford for years and years and years. I can give you a list of contractors. Most recently, PR Local, who did your slip expansion. You guys loved it. So I think to limit yourself to the recommendation of the school board is probably self-limiting. And I'd like also to add to the project with the LED lights. I'm dealing with a similar situation. LED lighting will save you probably 2/3 of your electric bill on these fixtures, and like he said, the lamps, they last 20 years. That aspect of it is great. So I'm
Thank you. Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you. How much work do you envision on an annual basis? And can this be done in-house or is it strictly definitely for outside?
I'm sorry, say that one?
Can this be done in-house or do we definitely need to go outside?
No, we definitely need to go out for a certified electrician to do some of these work. I mean, it's the smaller jobs, like, when I put up the license plate readers on 11th Street, we just needed to put a 110 outlet from an existing panel. It was probably $400 to get it done. When we go out for bid, you know, getting 3 companies to come out, it ends up taking like 2 or 3 days with lots of man hours to walk out the project.
Does this fall under the director's signing authority?
Yes, it does, Commissioner.
Yeah, I'm inclined to not go with this entity, Mr. Chairman. We heard from the public that there are other entities out there. I don't think we need to go out for bid. It sounds like these are very small items that the director can place it. Are you looking for coverage from us? Is that it?
Again, I was really just looking to piggyback off a contract with the school board.
Are the rates fixed? Is that what we're hearing?
Yes, yes.
Rates, so, okay.
Correct.
So
And
the rates are fixed, quality is there.
quality is definitely.
I mean, whether we go with this entity or another entity that has done work here.
Correct. And again, any project that was, you know, anything that was gonna be of a big ticket item, you know, I'm envisioning anything over, you know, $7,000, $8,000, we would definitely go out for bid, to make sure that we're getting a competitive price. This isn't gonna lock us into anything. It's just to get the small jobs done quickly and efficiently.
And they've been out here before and you've pre-sales.
They've done a couple of projects for us and we've been very satisfied with their, product.
Is it possible, and I don't know if we can do this or not, but you said they have a contract with the school board.
Yes, sir.
And there's a fixed rate. Can we go out to other entities and say, this entity has a contract with the school board, that there's a fixed rate? We'd like to hear from others that can match it.
Sure.
And then if one of those others that can match it is, you know, then the port doesn't lose anything by getting a contractor that would, you know, I don't know if that, they might not be able to do it because they might not pay the same wages, I don't know.
I'm not locked in any contractor. You know, basically, if there's somebody out there that can do a cheaper job, I'm always game for that.
Go ahead.
I guess my question is, since you're saying fixed rate, so it doesn't make any difference who we select. The fees would be the same for regardless of who.
No, it would be based on the contractor. Again, this was a competitive bid process that was conducted by the Palm Beach County School Board,
Okay, I understand.
and this was the awarding company following the school
It's
board.
not a whole lot of money, so it's not like,
No.
Yeah, I'm kind of inclined to go along with staff on a small project like this. When we go out for something major, then I definitely want to see it opened up. For a $300 or $400 job, I think it's a little ridiculous to try to pick and choose. We have no expertise, and you know, if we could do a $200 job or put a socket in it.
Sometimes it does take us more time and staff time and employee time to work out the project than the actual project.
Exactly, yeah. This is, I don't want to say small potatoes, but this is something for your convenience.
Efficiency.
And efficiency, exactly, so, you know, it's up to the board, but I'm willing to just rely on staff for something this size. Go ahead.
I'm in agreement with the chairman, and I would make a motion that we agree and that we go along with the recommendation of Mr. Hurd and staff of this particular item.
There's a motion, have a second, George?
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Nay.
All right, passes 3-2. Okay. Next,
The final item is E16, which is another 6-month delay on the parking garage. We've been knocking this around for a long time. I think we really need to move forward, and I think the logical way to move forward is to try to reach out to the city of River Beach with the proposal of having a shared facility that's hopefully on city property, so it doesn't tie up port property. And I just don't see any benefit in continuously, kicking this can down the road. I'd like to see us specifically explore the option of working with the city. I think it's in the city's best interest and in the port's best interest.
Mr. Chair? Peyton, can I give you a hug? Finally, finally. Another commissioner here. For the record, I'm a Wolverine. But finally, I mean, reasonable. I know that Viking and or the CRA will be building no less than 2 garages within 2 blocks of here. It's free to talk. It makes sense to have those conversations. And we are kicking the can down the road again and again and again. If we're not going to build our own garage, let's take it. Let's admit that. If we're going to do it, let's move forward. Let's not just kick it down the can. So I fully support your thoughts.
What do we hear from Tom? What's your opinion on
Personally, I don't have an opinion. I'll do what the board desires. Personally, I don't have an opinion. I'll do what the board desires. The report that was done, that PSA and AECom completed on here, still states that, a garage isn't justified until we get like a 3rd cruise vessel coming in.
it? All right, Manny, you have anything you want to add?
I do, Commissioner. With the addition of our casino ship, when they came in, we basically told them how scarce we were with regards to parking. Well, what I use as an example with my staff is a camel in a tent. They came in and very little, they just wanted the hook, and they keep placing more and more demand to the point where, we're handcuffed. We really are handcuffed. There's several ways that we're going about it. One is, of course, asking for rezoning of the FDOT property, also the land underneath the power line. But in the meantime, we need an outlet. We need something, a place where we can, in fact, park cars. Now, by no means, I hope this means that whatever Riviera Beach comes back with, that's what we're going to accept. We need to negotiate something that would make sense for the board. With regards to number of parking spaces, I dare say that anything above 200, we can pretty much start negotiating. Certainly not 400, but because keep in mind, we still have parking here at the port, landside parking. So I would strongly encourage for the board to instruct staff to start the dialogue and start the negotiations and see where we are, and maybe by next month or maybe in the month of January, we can come back with a report, see where we are at. And by the way, maybe in the month of January, we can come back with a report, see where we are at. And by the way, if I may, I don't know when they are planning on having a parking.
I was just going to ask you, has anyone seen the plans, or is there anything?
We've seen plans, but I don't.
You seen them? You have plans?
I have. I'm under the impression that there'll be no less than 2 garages in the near future.
Okay.
Mr. Chair?
Gene, go ahead.
Well, I feel that, we should continue to place it on hold, but then again, we need to talk to the city, see what they have available. I don't think we should just throw ours out the door. It's on hold, put on hold for another 180 days. But then in the interim, we need to actively find out what they're doing, what they plan to do, and their time period. And at that time, then we can be thinking about what we were really going to do. But I feel that we should just throw it out of the door. So my suggestion and recommendation is that we continue with the hold for another 180, but then actively work with the city to see what we can do. And then because we might decide to work with the city, they're not amenable to anything that we suggest to do. But then we can come up with a good match for both of us. So until we know that, I think we just continue to glide, but then we should put forth the effort to try to make it work if we can, that will benefit the Port of Palm Beach. If that's okay.
Would you accept the motion from Commissioner Henry along those lines?
Sure, well, that's fine. So,
Right, because we're just trying to work it out.
so, well, the only thing
I'm-
that all we're doing now is just accepting really the consent, but adding on at least negotiate, not negotiate, just talk,
Just-
discuss, yeah.
Right, have
Dialogue.
discussions, actually have a dialogue with the city of
Yeah.
Riviera Beach to come into some kind of agreement. And then if they come back and say, hey, we like this and we like that, then look, we can pray and make it work. If they don't, then we can continue along
Well,
our
I think then all we really need to do is just direct staff to
Right.
have discussions on their parking, and we can just go ahead and keep this on the consent agenda. if that's
Just
okay with you.
for rainy day.
Right, yeah. The other thing is that we've got to all take into consideration is that we're at the Tropical building right now. If we don't have the tenant, a couple people have been looking to take it over. Now, if that falls through and we do decide to demolish that building, that's a pretty, positive land for parking as well as for extra space for Tropical.
Right.
But we get quite a few spaces, and it certainly, would add. I think we've already done some studies on how many extra spaces that we could get if that happens, if we don't lease it to a new tenant.
Right.
So that, there's a lot, so I think, we'll go ahead and keep that on the consent, put it off, but at least discuss with Riviera Beach. And let's try to find out where, Tom, do you have any idea where the parking garage would go on that map up there?
When we were looking at several different areas.
No, there, Riviera Beach.
No, we're not.
Yeah, we'll just go ahead and, just ask them. I think that's probably to find out where, where it would possibly go. So, all right, so, well, I don't know.
I'll take consent.
Do what? Oh, consent, yeah, sorry. Go
Forget you
ahead.
like that.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, let's get them.
I move approval of the modified consent agenda.
Okay, with a motion.
Second.
Commissioner. Any other discussion? All in favor, all opposed, carries 5-0. Very good.
So that we fully understand, we're going to continue going for 180 days. In the meantime, we're going to start dialogue with the city. Is there an expectation as to when do you want us to come back? Is it will be
That doesn't.
December, January? timeframe?
Yeah, whatever, they might not even have a space where they're looking to put it, so, I mean, it's just preliminary discussions, then we can ask. Okay, very good. To the district reports.
Thank you. Okay. All right, Commissioners, it was a rather busy month of, so far, the month of November, or since we met last. I'd like to start with good news, and that is Teeters handled approximately 6,000 tons of steel rebar. And this shipment, ironically, originated in the same Turkish steel mill that Stone Rock exports his recycled steel to. So it's basically a before and after type of effect. The rebar, of course, is used for the construction industry down in South Florida. In speaking with Teeters, it was a joint marketing effort to get this product here at the port, and we hope there'll be more as we come down into the future. Right now, I'll be honest with you, we just don't have any more space for this particular product, but as soon as that gets clear, we may be able to get it.
Where is this going?
That's going to go down to Miami-Dade, all of their construction sites. Yep.
And how long will it stay here?
Here,
Yes.
it all depends on how quickly they need to replace the construction sites. We anticipate them being here for at least 100 days.
Wow.
Yep.
And what is the steel used for?
Rebar.
Oh,
It just
wow.
goes into fortified walls and
Right.
concrete and things of that nature.
So in other words, all the scrap that we've been picking up from...
Junkyards
Yes, we
Right.
ship it over to was
to
it
Turkey, correct?
and then they turn it into the rebar.
That is correct. That's one of the products that they turn back.
Okay.
Now, Stone Rock is not involved with the
No,
inbound,
right.
but he's on the outbound.
Okay.
But he does prevent it from going into our landfills.
That is
Which
absolutely
is a big,
correct.
benefit to the residents of Palm Beach County and the state.
Absolutely correct.
Very interesting.
It is. All right, moving on. The Pearl Mist. On November 5th, we had a port call at Port Palm Beach with this particular vessel. It was finished its U.S. East Coast voyage, with the last port call being here at Port Palm Beach. From here, it went out to Freeport, Bahamas, to complete the voyage. While here at the Port Palm Beach, its 100 passengers were treated to 3 different excursions. Some went to the beach, others went to City Place, and the rest took a boat ride around our channel. Obviously, this helped the local economy. The Promise is one of those candidates for ports and calls around Cuba. It is the right size. We're hoping that we will be selected as at least for 1, 2, or possibly all 6 projected sailings to the island of Cuba. Moving on, Tote Marine, which is the division of Seastar, which is owned by Solchuk. And Solchuk, of course, is the owner of Tropical Shipping. They just introduced this vessel. This is the first LNG, 100% LNG vessel that will be operating between Jacksonville and the Caribbean, primarily Puerto Rico. This particular ship obviously is things to come. Ironically, it came in very handy because if you recall, El Faro is no longer in the ship's rotation. Next, Commissioners, is the award of excellence that we received. Thank you very much to both Jara and Tara. This is the AAPA recognizing our 2015 Communication Awards Program Award of Excellence. This was presented to us at the recent held AAPA annual convention down in Miami. What else do we have? Next, Commissioners, we had a visitor to the Port Palm Beach. His name is Ruben Ramos Arrieta. In your folders, you have his bio. He is the 3rd highest ranking official in the Cuban embassy in Washington, D.C. We had a very pleasant meeting. Commissioner Richards assisted me with this meeting that we had. And then after our meeting, we went on to meet with some of our clients. It's from left to right. It's Jim Barillo, of course, of Grand Celebration. We also had Gary Hines, Jennifer from Tropical Shipping, of course, Ruben, Jara, and Ray Hatch from Merchants Exports, Roberto Fernandez from Tropical Shipping, and of course, Rick Morrell. Among the things that Mr. Ruben mentioned is that Florida is an important state for Cuba and feels that Florida will open doors for Cuba. Florida's business community is important and he wants to work with them and start in Palm Beach County. Believe it or not, Cuba purchases $13 billion annually throughout the world. You mentioned that. You mentioned you get 5% just out of the state of Florida. He also mentioned a couple of other things, but this one struck me the most. He said that there are only 62,000 hotel rooms available in Cuba today. 62,000. It's no wonder that by 2025, Cuba is interested in constructing an additional 25,000 new hotel rooms and need to follow this if the market happens. Why? Because Cuba is projected to have at least 3 to 4 million visitors on an annual basis, 1 million of which originate out of Canada. On and all, I will tell you that it's extremely successful. He is looking at us as we are looking at him for a mutual cooperation. And we have been given an assignment on both sides. He wants us to come up with a proposal as to what it is in Port Palm Beach, along with other entities throughout the county can do for Cuba, as he will then be in a position to assist all of us.
Very briefly, Mr. Chairman, very productive meetings. On one hand, I want to say it's a culmination of years of effort on behalf of our director and this board, but it's not the culmination, it's simply the beginning. So definitely want to support your efforts in this regard, and let's keep it going. Good job.
Okay, go ahead, man, move on to.
Okay, first I want to touch on the recent federal Department of Energy approval of exporting compressed gas to non-trade countries. This, of course, is for the EMERA project, EMERA, not Almira, EMERA, EMERA project. This is to ship compressed gas to substitute that type of energy that's being used in the Grand Bahamas. Of course, attached to that good news is somewhat troubling news, and that is a letter that we received, and it's in your folders, from the town of Palm Beach. They are very concerned about this particular project. They cite 7 different potential challenges in their letter, but I would like to stress that if you look directly to the south of us, there's a plant there today that's using millions of cubic feet of gas. EMERA wouldn't even be 10%, not even 5% of the total number that Florida Power & Light is currently using. So in my opinion, they jumped the gun a little bit, but we have notified EMERA. EMERA is in the process of reading the article, the newspaper article, and they will be communicating to us next week whether they would like to have a rebuttal. But at least they are aware of what the issues may be, and they're going to be prepared.
Are they, just a second, I mean, you need probably to make them aware that, now the town of Palm Beach, when the new cruise ship was coming in, they were basically against that because they said it was, too big and it wasn't any good. They've been against Stone Rock because they said, by cleaning up that's no good. They're against our pilots, obviously. They've been telling us that we need to do the maintenance dredging and the town of Palm Beach, of course, is against that. So now this is coming in, and it seems in the letter that they wrote, I don't know, and I asked Greg if we need to respond or not. They started basically saying that the city of River Beach really doesn't know what they're, if they don't know if they can handle something like this, and, I hate to say this is typical, but, they've never supported one project, really, that we're trying to do here. I can't remember one that they've ever supported, so I think we need to, for our attorney, to make EMERA, feel comfortable that it's not them, it's just that whatever tenant that we try to bring in or whatever we do, automatically it seems the town of Palm Beach is against it. So, we just probably need to, send some letters. Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, building on what you said, I think we should direct staff to respond to the town, and I think we should point out.
That's fine. All right, we voted on this vote. All in favor? All
Aye.
opposed? Carries 5-0. All right.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Paul Zielinski, Chief Financial Officer. Item H2 is asking your permission to replace some of the fleet vehicles at the port. We're looking to replace 3 vehicles. One would go into the general pool, specifically the marketing pool. With that, we'd be replacing a 2006 Crown Victoria, which has over 100,000 miles on it. Actually, 110,000 miles on it. And that car is 10 years old, so we'll be replacing that with the GMC Arcadia. We're also looking to replace 2 vehicles in the security and maintenance department. They're going to be replaced. One vehicle has 80,000 miles on it, and the other one is actually out of service and inoperable. The GMC Arcadia, we're looking for you to ratify the purchase. The contract that we're going under, the state contract, actually expired on the 17th, so we did place the order rather than having to wait another 60 days for another state bid. They're giving us a 2016 at a 2015 price. The MSRP on that vehicle is $37,820. Kelly's Blue Book says that the true purchase price should be $36,174. We're buying it for $28,611. So we're getting it at $7,500, $7,600, almost under the Kelly's recommended purchase price.
That's good.
The Ford Escapes, we are asking for you to approve that purchase. We have time on that. They have not been ordered. Those vehicles are approximately MSRP of about $24,000 each. The Kelly Blue Book says that their value, the purchase price is $22,800. We're buying each of those at $18,196, or about a $4,600 savings off of the price.
Okay, that sounds like a good deal. Are these, the Escapes are gonna be used for maintenance staff?
Operations.
Operations, yeah. Okay, good. All right, we have motion. Commissioner Richards, have motion. Second. Commissioner Mastix, any discussion? All in favor, all opposed, carries 5-0. Very good. Thank you.
Good afternoon again, Commissioners. Item H3, Cybersecurity Network System Upgrade. As part of our 2014 Port Security Grant Program, we were awarded funding for cybersecurity. A complete analysis of our system was completed by our IT department and consultants, determining that our network is operating at 80% capacity. Our systems requires additional upgrading to support future operational requirements and a new firewall to detect and prevent cybersecurity attacks. This project is funded 75-25 through the grant program, with our share being approximately $24,848. This will also be under the port capital as well.
Any discussion? Motion? Commissioner Mastix, do we have a second? Commissioner Richards?
Yeah, you got it.
Any discussion? Is this something that we've been working on, or?
Yeah, this is our basically Command Bridge project. We're working with the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office as well as Riviera Beach PD. As you saw in the news with the Paris situation, cybersecurity for being able to detect those attacks before they occur is great. And we are definitely going to be supporting our local agencies with ensuring that we have the best equipment possible. I mean, one of these days I could give you a side picture of what's actually occurring, because some of it is sensitive security. Well, it is sensitive security information, but you know, the residents of the county and the district should feel.
Absolutely. How long will it take to get it all installed and work?
It's going to be about a 6-month project. We got to, you know, we need to spend the money up by August of 2016. But some of the abilities and capabilities we'll have at completion of this project is phenomenal.
Well, you never can be too safe, so.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Is Grayson a sole source, or why did we use Grayson?
Under state GSA pricing, we utilize them, and our IT director has been using them for some time now and is very comfortable with their services.
With $100,000, why wouldn't we bid?
It's under GSA, it's under state GSA, so it went out for the state. Pardon me?
It's the only provider that is covered under the state GSA?
There's several different ones, but this is the preferred vendor of choice.
I just think when it's $100,000, I think we should cast a wider net. I mean, I understand they qualify and it's under GSA, but if there are others, I think we should always, $100,000, we should always, you know, bid it out or see what we can do.
That's at the leisure of the board.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Carries 5-0.
H4 is looking at the Stone Rock Corporation and a proposed amendment to their agreement. You've been provided with the term sheet, and upon its approval, we will enter an agreement for the actual signing of it in December. As a little background, if I may, on December 19th, 2011, the port signed an agreement with Stone Rock for the receiving, stockpiling, and exporting of processed metals. They agreed to a minimum of $30 million over the term of the agreement, with an upside that could be twice that depending on shipments. The first 5 years, each of those years, they guaranteed us $506,000 minimum and in advance and a shipment of at least 100,000 metric tons. Performance to date. The port has received approximately $2 million from Stone Rock in the way of revenue. Of this, $790,000 was paid by Stone Rock in 2012 and 13 when there were no shipments made at all. In 2012, they paid us to hold the slip for them as a heavy paved area was put in. And in 2013, we were finishing the slip and they were ramping up their business. Shipments actually commenced in 2014 with 63,000 tons shipped for the full year. However, we were paid for 100,000 tons. In 2015, they will ship only 24,000 tons, yet they will pay us for 100,000 tons. The business constraint has revolved around the local business permit. And they ran into difficulties both in 2014 and 2015. Without a issue being resolved, it precludes their supplier from securing any long-term agreements for metal sources. Their long-term supplier is basically Stemcor, who owns the scrap, owns the metals. They are one of the largest, if not the largest, processor and exporter in the country. But they cannot enter into long-term agreements not knowing the outcome. The non-contractual sources, the local drops off, are not sufficient for Stone Rock to hit 100,000 metric tons. They just simply can't do it without long-term agreements. And as you recall, our executive director said this is the scrap that goes out to Turkey, comes back as rebar, and actually the port is collecting revenue twice on the same material. What they've asked us to consider. Stone Rock has asked us to consider a one-year modification to their agreement to reduce their annual minimum to 50,000 metric tons. If we do so, prior to the beginning of the year, they will provide us with a check for $253,000, basically paying for that completely up front. They've also agreed to a rate of $5.06 per metric ton for all shipments over 50,000 to 100,000. And I'd like to let you know that that $5 rate is 5 times the rate in their contract. The reason why they agreed to that is that if they are able to hit their 100,000 metric tons next year, we will be made whole and get our $506,000. That all other contract terms would remain unchanged. So if you have approval, we will draft an agreement to address these issues and bring it back to your signature.
Good.
So moved.
Motion.
Second.
Second. Good, go ahead.
I feel that we should agree and approve this because they've gone far beyond the call of duty to even continue to pay us at that rate. And I just feel very uncomfortable if we don't give them something back and try to be accessible to them and work something out. And I think that the board should agree and go on.
And I feel very optimistic now with the city that we're going to be able to get that long-term agreement in the next, hopefully, 4 or 5 months. I mean, we've got indications that, everyone's trying to work it out. And, to me, they're one of our more valuable tenants, and especially what they're doing is, Commissioner MacArthur said, they're preventing all this scrap from going in the landfills, or getting it off the streets, and we're shipping it to Turkey. So you would think the community would be applauding something like that instead of, fighting. So I think, this is the right thing to do, and hopefully in the next 6 months we'll have the agreement, and then they can move on.
And Mr. Chairman, just for the record, Mr. Kroll has not yet filed his request for a special exception with the city, but he will be doing so between now and the deadline, which is December 15th.
And we'll make sure that gets it.
Can I just say one more thing, and that is, of course, keep in mind, he always prepays.
Right.
We don't have the luxury, well, the casino does, but
Right.
this is one account that way before business takes place, he shows up with a check.
Oh, no, he's a top tenant, and, we've all, as a commission, agreed to do whatever we can. And I think now, with our discussions with the city, I think, it's gonna happen, so I feel very comfortable when all that gets taken place. All right, all in favor, all opposed, carries
Aye.
5-0.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else? Is there anything else?
We don't have anything else other than setting the meeting to
Now,
our next one.
before we do that, we have comments from the commission.
Yes, sir. Just like everyone knows that the county code enforcement department headed by Ramsey Bulkley went out to Peanut Island last week. They're preparing their report. I'm sorry we don't already have it, but I think we'll have it soon, and that'll come back to the board for consideration. But I just wanted you to know that they did visit the island.
Nothing additional?
George, you have anything in words of
Just briefly, we had a meeting today in Century Village, and there were two excellent speakers on behalf of the port. One was Wayne Richards. You are excellent, excellent. And the other was none other. Yes. And he was very good. And this guy wears two hats. He had Paulette verdicts here, and he had the port over here, and he covered them both excellently. And it was a great meeting, and the port and Paulette were well represented.
Very good. All right, anything else, Manu? All right, so now the next meeting, we're gonna try to switch it, I guess, to Wednesday, December 16th. Is that okay with everybody?
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
I understand the director's reason for wanting to change it. We have a schedule, the third Thursday of every month. I think it's incumbent on all of us to try to keep that schedule. The public knows it's the third Thursday of every month. They shouldn't have to say, well, we better check on the port because the port changes things. I mean, other governmental bodies, when someone is absent, they're absent. As long as there's a quorum, the process goes on. And I think the port should do that. I don't think we should change meeting dates. I mean, none of us, with the possible exception of Mr. Almira, are indispensable. And I think that's a habit that the board has gotten into over the years that we need to break. Thank you.
Well, that's your opinion, and I kind of agree. And we do it very rarely. I mean, if one of the commissioners has something, so it's something to think about. But very rarely do we deviate from our third Thursday. So, all right, if there's nothing else. Yeah, it's Wednesday, December 16th.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. All right, so if nothing else, we're adjourned.